What is a zoning variance for farmland? Imagine owning a piece of farmland and wanting to build a barn or start a small farm shop, but the local rules say you can't because of setbacks or land use restrictions. That's where a zoning variance comes into play. A zoning variance is a legal exception that lets landowners do things with their farmland that normally aren't allowed under current zoning laws. It doesn't change the zoning classification but gives permission to bypass specific rules for a limited reason. Zoning laws are meant to keep farmland dedicated to agriculture and prevent unwanted development. But sometimes strict rules make it hard to use the land practically. For example, if you want to build a greenhouse closer to the property line than normally allowed, you might need a variance. Or if you want to run a small farm stand in an area zoned only for crop production, a variance could be necessary. There are two main types of variances for farmland. The first is a use variance, which allows the land to be used for purposes that zoning normally prohibits. For example, turning part of a crop field into a farm store or hosting farm tours might need a use variance. These are harder to get because they change how the land is used and can impact neighbors or the community. The second type is an area variance. This lets you make physical changes that don't meet setback rules, lot size, or building height limits. For instance, building a barn that slightly overlaps a setback line might need an area variance. These are usually easier to obtain because they involve smaller changes that don't significantly affect the neighborhood. To get a zoning variance, the landowner must show that strict enforcement of the rules causes a hardship specific to their land. For example, if the land's topography or size makes it impossible to meet setback requirements, that could be a hardship. They also need to prove the hardship isn't caused by their own actions. The process involves applying to the local zoning or planning board and attending a hearing. Neighbors and other community members can comment or object. If the variance is approved, it becomes part of the land's record and stays with the property even if ownership changes. Understanding zoning variances is important for farmland investors and buyers. They can provide flexibility to adapt land for new agricultural uses or diversify operations without needing to buy new land. But it's wise to check how likely it is to get a variance and what restrictions might remain. Consulting local authorities or legal experts familiar with agricultural zoning can help navigate this process smoothly.